Oh, okay.
Sister Sheila.
Ka ba? Friday ka? Dito si Friday. Si Mila?
Ganun ako ha, para makita niyo ako.
No problem.
First, we have to jump. Good evening, brothers and sisters. I'm your sister Shiela Ulgado. I leave my Cursillo in September 1998 at St. Anthony Claret, Clayton, California, the Curia of St. Bernadette. For today, I'll be talking about the 3-day Thursday night. Since the aim of the Cursillo movement is the evangelization of environments through the full and progressive conversion of persons, the 3 days of the Cursillo are utmost importance. Most people who make the Cursillo find it such a deeply moving experience that it leaves an inedible mark on the rest of their lives. The Cursillo weekend is a marvelous instrument of evangelization. It takes individuals as they are, and it places them in a situation conducive to cooperating with the action of God in communion with others with a view towards their progressive conversion as Christians. If the experience of the Cursillo affects people that deeply, then out of love and respect for them, we must constantly reflect on what should be said and how it should be said, on what should be done, and why and how it should be done, so that Cursillo can yield its fruits and leave its lifelong mark on all who participate in it. The phases of Cursillo. The methodological process of the Cursillo involves several distinct phases which must be kept as such if our efforts are to meet the theological, psychological, and pedagogical principles that long experience has shown to be valid. Each of the talks and events of the Cursillo has its own specific objective, the importance of which will not fully come to light until towards the end of the Cursillo. The different themes explored in the Cursillo are arranged within a sequence of phases in such a way that the Cursillo constitutes a true masterpiece of teaching, a work of art. It is like a musical piece. It builds on a basic harmonic theme, a melody that is full of surprises as it unfolds, a song that gives people the experience and the joy of Jesus. That is why it is a great interest to see how these phases interconnect with one another. The phases of the Cursillo cannot be something rigid and unalterable. Among other reasons, because no one can set a time fence or a time frame for the grace of God and for the free choices of people. With that reservation in mind, we can distinguish in the Cursillo 4 different steps. The introductory, which is commonly known as the retreat. It starts on the first night and continuing into the beginning of the first day, which is the Thursday. The second one is the basic proclamation of the Christian faith, which take up most of the first day, which is the Friday. This will be discussed on next month. The development of the Christian faith, which is the objective of the second day, which is the Saturday, which will be on the month of October. The projection of the Christian living into one's everyday environment, which is the central theme of the third day, Sunday, which is going to be discussed on December.
No, November.
November. Conversion is the objective of each and every moment and phases of the Cursillo. Conversion cannot be a course. and it is impossible to set a schedule for the action of God. Nevertheless, we reiterate that all of the Cursillo, not just one or another, of its phases is designed for conversion. Now let me discuss about the retreat or the Thursday. This is what we call the steps of preparation. Before speaking of the retreat, we should make mention of the opening talk. On Thursday, of the opening talk, which is an informal chat, welcoming the Cursillistas warmly and sincerely. It is the same time a greeting of welcome from the coordinator and an introduction to the Cursillo, explaining what it is for, whom it is for, and how it will take place. The objective of this talk is to, number one, to arouse interest in the Cursillo. Number two is to reduce psychological tension on the participant. Number three is to awaken curiosity about the unknown that they are about to be living. Number four is to bring about a friendly collaboration in something that may be a turning point for their whole lives. The retreat should take place in an atmosphere of silence, since silence is conducive to interior reflection. This retreat essentially consists of three elements, which takes the form of meditation. The first two are given on the first night of the Cursillo, the third on the following morning. Know thyself. With the first meditation begins the pedagogical journey of the Cursillo. Its objective is to awaken consciences by having the Cursillistas pause to analyze their past life experiences. This is a time for real, honest reflection. This is not, however, a time for moralizing. It is for each Cursillista to confront the reality of his or her life. Something far different and far removed from how that person has made it appear to others, so as to begin to open up to the possibility of change. It is also important not to be dramatic about this. It will only backfire if one tries to achieve more than can reasonably be expected this early on. The Merciful Father, the second meditation, is meant to illuminate with hope whatever anxiety may have been brought to the surface by the first meditation. After such a blunt revelation of oneself, it is a relief to change the focus to God. It is necessary to dismantle whatever false images of God the Cursillistas may have, so that they can see Him, who He really is, and He is shown in the gospel parable, an anxious father eagerly watching for the day He can take us into His home, already preparing a feast for our homecoming, ready to forgive and forget everything because we are His children. This is a portrait of the heart of God, rich in mercy. We must be careful not to lose focus by dwelling on the immoral activities. We don't want to focus on the prodigal son or the mean-spiritedness of the older son. Such degradation, interesting as they might be in themselves, such degradations, interesting as they might be in themselves, would only be a distraction. At this moment, all attention should be concentrated on the main objective of this meditation, realization of God as the Father who loves, who hopes, who welcomes, who rejoices the return of his wayward child. The three glances. The morning of the first day of the Cursillo opens with the third meditation. The three glances. God the Father has come to meet us. This encounter must become transparent in all of the proclamation of this day. We have it on Jesus' words that whoever sees me sees the Father. Surely the other side of the coin is that as Jesus sees, so the Father sees. And so a look on Jesus' face reflects the Father's attitude as well. To look is to fix one's gaze deliberately. In any look, there is an intended meaning. In the case of a look from Jesus, that meaning is love. The three glances adds another dimension to the proclamation. This is the proclamation of love of God. Proof that people are free to reject it. That is a risk inherent in the mystery of grace and freedom. And so, we discover in three gospel scenes three different attitudes. Jesus' journey in a different ways. He glances at three individuals. The rich, young man enslaved by his possession. Judas, victimized by his ideologies. And Peter, confident of his self-sufficiency. The Cursillistas are invited to define their attitudes toward the Christ who is looking at one of them and to ask themselves, how does he see me now? This meditation completes the first two, and it sets the focus for responding to all the proclamation to be made that day. The objective is to illuminate the entire day with the person of Jesus, who is looking at each of us from one of three possible angles, depending on our attitude to become aware of the infinite distance between the attitude of Christ and that of any other person. This includes people who qualify as being good. They are the ones represented by the older son in the merciful father's story. In summary, Thursday starts with an opening talk to arouse interest, to reduce psychological tension, to awaken curiosity, and to bring friendly collaboration that may be a turning point for their whole lives. Thursday consists of three elements which take in the form of meditation. Know thyself, to awaken consciences, the merciful Father, to illuminate with hope whatever anxiety may have been brought to the surface. The third one is the three glances, to meet God, the Father, and the proclamation of the love of God. God bless.